the channel. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna get right into it before I lose my train of thought, because I am doing this from the top of my head, but this is a topic that I've been thinking about a very long time. That is the state of co-op in Wuthering Waves. The truth is that a lot of the time when there are co-op events, I think most of us have a good time. I think they do them pretty okay, but I do think a bigger focus on co-op should probably be where they start looking towards in the future. I think this is something that's been sorely missing in the gacha space, where they can sort of replace that itch that people get to like show off their gear or like what they've accomplished in a cooperative setting, right? I thought about this a lot. I've thought about why I loved MMOs back in the day and why people love them now or have always loved them. And the truth is, there's one thing that you can guarantee people love showing off, or two things. People love being recognized for their hard work and showing that off, but also when they spend a crap ton of money, you can guarantee that person loves showing it off. As someone who's done both for Wuthering Waves, and as many of you have done at least one, I guarantee what you want to do is sort of show off a bit or have more interactive content where you can sort of enjoy that your hard work is being appreciated by others. I also think that this is insanely good for revenue reasons and just like the community in general. This is because the thing with cooperative events and people who are free to play versus whales, instead of creating a very toxic environment that in the way that PvP does in these kinds of games, because obviously I spend more money, I win more times. I mean, Cartethyia restart is new, but it's a great example. No matter how much you try to make dupes not matter, a whale's just gonna always be over you. And that sucks. It doesn't feel good in a game that's quote unquote competitive. Also super toxic with buffs and nerfs and PvP games, especially gacha games where you're spending money or like insane amounts of time, right? But outside of that, instead of creating that sort of environment, cooperative experiences in games like this, it bridges the gap between whales and free-to-play, because it makes it so that even if the content is insanely difficult, when it comes to rewards and stuff like that, the whales get rewarded by like sort of showing off and being like, haha, look at how much money I've spent, right? Basically. But it also makes it so that free-to-play players, or maybe players who aren't, even if, let's just take money and everything out of it, let's say two free-to-play players, maybe one isn't really good at the game, but they enjoy the story and everything like that, and they just can't clear tower on their own. It's super hard, super difficult. Not saying they should make tower cooperative, but in this cooperative mode, they would be able to get kind of carried by either a whale or somebody who's just really good at the game, etc., stuff like that. I don't think it should be like whale exclusive, but if you're really good at the game, you know, there are dungeon mains and stuff like that, they could maybe carry that person and they don't have to miss out on rewards every patch just because, you know, maybe they're older, maybe they don't play very many video games, but they really just enjoy the more casual aspect. I think cooperative experiences in gacha games should be like super prevalent just because of how much money they bring in. I think like imagine if Wuwa had permanent endgame that reset maybe even more frequently than Tower does, maybe more frequently than like Wuthering Waves and everything. Maybe every week, you know, there's a cooperative event or something like that where we sort of jump in. Maybe it's a randomized dungeon, maybe it's something along those lines where you have maybe there's a big boss enemy and it's like you really have to struggle, like they make it super hard even, and it's just one really like cool enemy maybe built specifically for that mode. And if that's the case, then maybe they could take a little longer with the updates on it, but maybe it's something like that where it's hyper cooperative and it makes people have to like really be good at the game, or like whales get their like fulfillment from being, you know, we're carrying you, right? And then the people who, like I said, don't play the game maybe as much or aren't as good due to several reasons, they get those rewards. I also think cooperative play in Wuthering Waves, like, yes, you can collect chests together, or both of you can't collect the chests, but let's say you've already got them. You can go to your friend's world, help them farm and stuff like that. They can still collect chests and like resonance caskets and stuff, which I don't think was at launch, but you can do that now. But it's still very lacking. You can't see each other's builds for some reason, which is a feature that even Genshin had since day one. Like, I want to be able to look at my friend's builds. I don't know why that's not a function. They need to add that. They should add more cooperative events and stuff like that around the open world. They have like this ability to be cooperative, but it ends up just making everything feel super slow, and it feels like an afterthought most of the time. I think they should definitely start adding stuff in that category. Again, this isn't... I don't want the game to become tower or fantasy or anything like that. It doesn't have to be like this hyper expansive MMO, but I see all of these gacha games coming out and I enjoy Wuthering Waves, but this is they all seem to be hyper focused on just story, the ones coming out, and like story choice. Like Duet Night Abyss has that, right? And I forgot the name of it, but it's like a brand new game that just got launched that looks like Wuwa and Genshin, right? Like those two had a love child, and hyper focus on story. They all seem to ignore co-op, and I think that's something that can make Wuwa sort of completely surpass these games that are coming out and have been out for so long. And I think it's something that the community just doesn't stress enough, because the only reason I'm even making this video or talking about it is because they are devs that actually listen. And I think if enough people did like complain about co-op and saying they want better cooperative experiences, like if enough creators, like if you guys bug enough creators to get them to talk about it, or if enough of you talk about it, this is a change we actually feasibly could see. I know everyone loves the cooperative events. I don't know anyone who has like friends who would not enjoy like playing with them and like having a good time. I would like to see co-op become a major thing in the game. And sort of like we could have a guild system, we could do things like that. I think expanding on their servers, maybe also allowing people to transfer servers would be nice. Especially if they start focusing on co-op. There are so many things you can do with a cooperative experience, to be honest with you. Like everything you can do with single player, you can kind of do in co-op in some form or fashion. What I would be a fan of is sort of a dungeon, sort of MMO kind of experience. Maybe once a month or once every like 2 weeks or something like that, we get like an expansive like sort of dungeon raid. I'm not saying they should... I don't know how the game's built. I don't think it's built for like, oh, you can have 8 players or stuff like that, and I wouldn't really want them wasting time on that without expanding and fixing like the basic kind of co-op with 3 people. If they can't get that right, I don't think we would get like 8-player stuff done right at all. That's something maybe in the far future, but I was thinking sort of like a raid thing, maybe in one massive dungeon that we can sort of go through. One person, probably the person with the least invested account, would go healer. They would run one of their support characters, obviously the one who's most invested in time, or maybe has like, you know, better DPS. They could be the main DPS, and then you have your sub DPS or support, or I guess support, right, that buffs them. You could do something like that. Or if you have whales, they would obviously be able to fill the DPS route, but they also may not need a specific support. For example, I have like E6 Cartethyia, right? One of my like 3 E6 units in the game. I say E6, was it in Wuthering Waves? S6, whatever, you guys know what I'm saying. I have her fully built. I don't need a specific support anymore, so that would open up the second slot for the other person to run whatever they wanted. But let's say you're not whaling and you're running Carlotta. Maybe it's a single boss towards the end. That's the hardest part of the dungeon. So you guys really want someone with stun and freeze and stuff like that. So maybe they run Carlotta, and then the second person runs Zeji, and then the third person runs Shorekeeper or Verena, whoever they have. I also think like making these co-op events very difficult, like in a sort of dungeon-like manner, like making it where like it's actually really hard. Like you can't go in there with 3 DPS, you can't go in there without support. I think doing something like that can make it where communities grow, where the community grows, but like maybe everybody joins Discords. Maybe we could have a guild function where people coordinate with one another and they're like, hey, I need someone willing to play support to get through the dungeon this month or this week, or hey, we have someone running DPS. We want either someone who can run a secondary DPS, a sub DPS, or someone who's like whaled enough where they don't need a sub DPS themselves. There could be a bunch of things like that. I think it's also great for people missing maybe some characters, and like they can feel the full benefit of their specific character with like somebody else using the support that's best for them. I think there's so many things about co-op that would enhance the experience for every single person involved, and I think it's a shame really that they haven't expanded on that. And I think that's the worst part about Wuwa. I think the co-op being an afterthought is insane to me. They improved their story, they've improved even graphics. Graphics were always fine, but they continue to improve graphics literally like every patch. Like they do a little something at a time so that it doesn't age out as bad as like something like Genshin, which isn't even really to throw a shot at Genshin, but if you've seen Genshin lately, it does not hold up to like games of today, which is crazy because when Genshin came out like just a few years ago, it was like beautiful, but looking at it now compared to like Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone Zero, even Honkai Star Rail, it just does not hold up at all. It looks very cartoonish and silly. But Genshin, shitting on Genshin aside, okay, let's get back to the topic. Co-op like this, like in the sort of ideas that I've been throwing out, or I'm not even hoping to get ideas out necessarily. I haven't really thought about it too much in terms of that. It's more so I want the idea out there that we want more co-op. I don't know what their limitations are with like servers and things like that, or what they would have to upgrade. I don't know what incremental steps they have to take. So it's super hard. I don't want to come over here and say we need to scream at the devs and tell them to add a hardcore WoW raid to the game. You know, like that just would not work. I am almost positive their servers are not built for something like that, and neither is like their balancing. Like there's no fucking way that would work. Also, I have to remember this game's on mobile, so. Which I think the co-op, this should be a hard event. No, none of us here want an easy co-op event. The thing with difficulty in co-op events is that the more difficult something is, as long as it feels like fair enough, it will draw people to work together, maybe talk, maybe, like I said, go to Discords, maybe they can add an in-game chat function. Like there's so many things they could do just to make it feel more like a community, because to be honest, it gets fucking boring in like between patches. Like I just logged on today for like 10-15 minutes. I mean, it's the start of a week, so my grind's a little longer today than usual. You know, I did the weekly bosses. I did Elusive Realm, which was super easy with Cartethyia. I was doing so much damage because of all the HP options. It's like actually cracked. I might do a video on that. Like it's actually insane. Like you just she's so broken in that sort of realm, which is funny because you normally ignore the HP pieces, right? But back on topic, I just think cooperative experiences bring so much to the table for gacha games, any game really, but gacha games especially. I mean, if you grind for hardcore artifacts, right, and like you do all of this, let's say you've already grinded for the day and you're bored. You're like, man, my characters are all built. I don't feel like farming echoes. I mean, my echoes are fine, whatever. but you still want to have fun facing like difficult challenges while also not feeling like your time is wasted. I think a cooperative event that like stays, that's like really hard, that you can just sort of jump into and like help other people out on, would be insanely good for the game. Like I would love, like right now I have nothing to do in the game, even if I got all of the rewards for the cooperative mode, I would probably hop on sometimes and just hop into the mode and use my freaking S6 Cartethyia to like just destroy like some mobs, and then like make it easier for maybe free-to-play player who's still struggling throughout the week, or maybe they had time to jump on, or even other whales who aren't as good at the game. Like it could be a very difficulty thing too. I think an endless wave mode would also be really fucking cool. I think that's something they could accomplish. Maybe it's a boss rush mode, because I don't know. Again, I don't know what their capabilities are with servers, but I think a boss rush mode would be an amazing start, where every time you defeat a boss, like maybe it rotates, randomizes each boss, prevent them from repeating immediately, right? But it rotates between bosses, and each time you guys defeat a boss, it gains a different kind of multiplier. And then like you push as a group to see how far you can go, right? And maybe the longer it goes, you revive. It takes longer and longer for you to revive. Or maybe there's like a endless mode, like after you beat all of that, there's like a really, really hard one where you can't revive after you die, in terms of like the game reviving you. If a character has a revive, then that's fine. But maybe there's no revive and it just gets, and then it ramps up like the other mode does. I think that would be really fucking cool, and I don't think that would be too intensive on the servers or like anybody's systems, because it would be one boss. They've done co-op events like that already. They've done co-op events with multiple enemies and a boss, like, so I don't think that would be too intensive for them. I think that would be a really good start to test the waters. Let me know what you guys think about that idea. I think that would be really fucking cool. I think that would be amazing. And then like you can just, let's say throughout the week you've already beat that, right? You've gotten all the rewards, but you built a new character. You want to see like how strong they really are in like a mode like that. You can just hop in, have some fun with some friends, right? And say, hey, hop on. Or I want to see how good my support is versus yours, somebody needs practice with a character. It's a really good way to do it. And I think just because you need to be online to play this game anyway. I don't think having mandatory like co-op events like that is a bad thing, especially when there's so many like mandatory solo player events. I think balancing it out like that is absolutely fine. I think a lot of the co-op ideas I'm saying right now, those should be mandatory co-op. I think that's something where they should, it's forcing people to cooperate and sort of like interact with the community, but that's how you grow a community like this. I think that's how you make it stronger. And I think it's like, if people are able to do that, it's really hard to make a selling point for other gacha games at that point, over Wuthering Waves. I think if Wuthering Waves did something like I've been talking about, I say the most delusional person trying to say Genshin is better. I mean, if they have a friend that plays Wuthering Waves and they're like, hey, I want to do this mode with you, even the most like angry, bitter, fucking loser on the internet, they're gonna break. They are absolutely gonna break and play Wuthering Waves and like have a good time. Everything's more fun with friends. If they do like the endless mode or like the dungeon raid, I think those are the two main ones that would be the most fucking fun. And I'm trying to think of other ideas, but it's really hard, because again, I don't know the limitations. I would enjoy knowing what you guys think in terms of modes. But I do think the endless would be a great start and into like dungeon content. I think guilds would be super fun. I think being able to see your builds and stuff should be something in the game. I think that's a good place to start with like improving general co-op. I would like to show off like, oh, look at the artifacts I've gotten, or seeing like what other kind of crazy builds people have. I also think that would be mandatory if you create more co-op events, because then it helps you choose like oh, my DPS character is significantly better than yours, switch to support. You know, it's just, sure, it could get maybe get a little toxic, but I doubt it. You guys don't allow you to say anything in the group chat. We'll talk with emotes. That's how it'll go. But I think that would be awesome. I think it's actually insane to me that no gacha game of this caliber has really thought about co-op. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy story, but story in these games would never compare to an experience like I've just laid out. Like, story would be so secondary to me if Wuthering Waves had like a hardcore co-op scene and like high replayability. That's why I said like the cycling bosses that are randomized but gain multipliers over time the more of them you beat. That would be fucking insane, and it wouldn't require anything crazy in terms of development, because you'd be in one area. It would be the same bosses that are already in the game, and every time they add a new one to the game, that's a new boss for that rotation. So creating new content for it wouldn't even be hard. It would be recycled content, but people would be able to have fun and have replayability, and it would improve them in fighting those bosses in a fun way, while also like prepping them for like Tower of Adversity, etc. And it would make it a really enjoyable experience. I don't want to yap on too much longer. There's not too many other co-op moves. Like, I don't want, I'm be honest, I don't want like corny co-op shit. I don't want flying co-op. Like, I don't want to do flying races with people. It's fucking dumb. I don't want shit like that. I do think Wuthering Waves is obviously going to add mounts. I think probably in the new Federation, which should be next from speculation. I don't have any information that the rest of you don't. But I have a feeling new Federation is coming up next with Chisa's design and the fact she looks very modern schoolgirl kind of thing. Who else is from the new Federation? Calcharo, right? But I think we'll probably get like cars or like hoverboards or shit like that. Don't quote me on that. Like, it's not a promise, but Renacita brought in flying. I mean, if they bring in like cool ass mounts, people are gonna lose their fucking minds. Like, that's how it competes with these newer gacha games coming out with those features. If Wuwa does it first before those games are out, one, no one can really say they copied the games that weren't out yet, right? Even though the trailers are out, we would just be like, shut the fuck up. Wuwa did it first before this game was even released. They'll have that, and then also it puts them ahead where they can like iron out kinks and be better than the competition who's still testing their shit, right? But I think co-op is, it would be fucking huge, man. Like, if they announced a permanent like resetting weekly, monthly, whatever co-op event that has high replayability like the endless mode, like, it's one of those modes where like, because it's co-op, you would jump back in for fun. Like, after you get all the rewards, how many of you, like, if you would genuinely like do that, just let me know. Like, say it in the comments, right? Say like how much you would, like, would you still play it after you beat it? Like, either to help other people or just to have a good fucking time. Like, I probably would test like, I would probably just do challenges with friends, right? Like, just jump in, like, okay, how far can we get with no healer? Okay, how far can we get with only with Verena Shorekeeper and Arrow Rover, right? Or Baiji, right? Like, you could do fun challenges like that. I also think it would make like the tournament events people do way more fucking cool. Like, how far can you get in the endless mode for a tournament? Like, you know how the content creators do like, oh, this team, quote unquote, it's not really a team, it's like everybody's solo, but we put all your points together because there's no co-op mode. But you will be able to put team against team in a more effective way by having them do endless, seeing how far they get. Like, yeah, there would be some RNG in terms of like what bosses you get, but like good, you're shit out of luck, right? And it'd be more fun to practice as a team. You would have your dedicated healer who gets super good at that character. Like, there's so many possibilities. I really love this like endless mode idea, and I hope like someone just I don't care who, just somebody boosts like that idea, and we get some like hardcore, like really fun shit like that. And obviously for rewards, it doesn't have to be like the hardest max level. I want everyone to get their summons, right? But maybe at the very top even, they have a reward for something like Echo upgrade material or something like that that's still useful for people who hyper invest into characters. Because obviously to get to the highest levels, even if you're a whale, right, whatever, for like normal people or dolphins or whatever, right, you put in that effort and to building the characters, obviously you need some replacement materials, right? And it also makes it feel like it's worth like building a character so hardcore that you get like a return on that investment. Or maybe it's like an endless echo farm, or maybe it's an endless boss farm. Like once you get to a certain like difficulty, after a certain amount of waves killed, every boss you kill drops like a really good echo or something like that, right? It could be stuff like that. I think you should get it could be something that gives you constant rewards even that aren't like Astrite, because obviously they want to make money, but it could be something where you can infinitely farm it together and have a really fun time. Maybe they just drop some sort of resource. I think the echo idea is probably the least exploitable, where it drops boss echoes no matter what. Or maybe you get the weekly boss mats if they make maybe if like the hardest levels are all weekly bosses, you get one of the boss mats or something every time you get that high up. There's a lot of stuff they could do with it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think this is a great idea. Okay, I think it's a great idea. I think the endless mode is actually the way to fucking go. And I would be ecstatic if they added that. And I would enjoy like making a server with all of you and like popping off, or like if they add guilds because of something like that. Imagine how the internet would go crazy. Like the amount of shit talking Wuwa fans would have. Would be doing, like, imagine, like, we would be able to shit on every other gacha game like without question. Like that one mode idea alone would elevate this game to like a 10 out of 10 fucking perfect enough for people. Even if it's a little glitchy at first or whatever, people would look past that because they're having a good time with their friends. Like people underestimate how much having friends can elevate an experience. And yeah, that would be fucking cool. Or maybe they could do a mode, I guess. Elden Ring Night Rain's on my mind, right? Maybe they could do a mode where like you get a random character or something, you know, like you each get a random one or something. But I would rather the endless mode. I think that's my favorite idea and the most like doable at quickly, like soon, because this is something I would want right away so they can work on it over time and like get a foundation for co-op. I think it's easy enough. You take, here, I'm going to lay out the idea and then I'm probably going to end the video, right? You take all the bosses in the game, right? You randomize them you randomize the order in which they appear in this mode. Every time one is defeated, the enemy gets a, I don't know if it'll, well, I think random maybe the bosses start getting more health, and then they get a buff that increases their attack and then defense, resistance to maybe status effects, stuff like that over time, and then it ramps up, and it just keeps getting harder until eventually, and I don't think it should cap out. I think you should be able to get to a point where it's so absurd that this boss looks at you, you die. I think it should be able to, and then like we could see people make it to like, I've made it to level 1000 with Danjin. Obviously that probably wouldn't be feasible. Like by that point the boss have so much HP and destructive ability that it'd be cool. They can even do things where they add maybe a new move to the bosses as you get to a higher level. Like they'll do some shit you've never seen. You're like, what the hell? Maybe once you get to a certain level, there's 2 of them. There's 2 bosses at once, and then 3. Like there's so many things you could do with this. But yeah, that was my idea. This is a more positive video than I usually make. It's just, I love Wuthering Waves a lot. I think it holds a really dear place in my heart. I enjoy it. I think the reason, it's a beautiful game to me, in that, obviously still a gacha game, very predatory, right? Blah, 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 blah. But it does always warm my heart to see developers who are smart enough to listen to their communities. Like they actually listen. And it makes it really fun for me to make a video like this, because I'm speaking it into the ether right now, right? I'm not even a big channel or anything like that. Not at all. I doubt many of you even make it to this point in the video, right? But just knowing like if enough people speak about something and want something, they'll probably make it happen, and it'll happen so much sooner than like Honkai Star Rail, which is adding a skip button years after we asked, months after we've been asking. They made me quit a game where I've invested so much time. I've invested money too, but the time really is what makes me upset. I have so many built characters and stuff like that. They just would not add a skip button, and then they do it patches later in the most like annoying way possible, and it's just, with Wuthering Waves, I don't really have that issue. I want them to improve co-op. If they add co-op, I mean, I don't know how Honkai Star Rail competes with that. They have no way to make actual good co-op. It's a turn-based game. I'm sorry. It's really hard to do. And then Zenless Zone Zero, Genshin. If Genshin added co-op events, it'd be a boss standing still as you all hit it with elemental effect, like normal shit. It wouldn't be interesting because bosses fucking suck in that game. Zenless Zone Zero, same situation in terms of I don't think that's feasible. I think the game is hard enough to see anything on the screen as it is. I had to turn damage numbers off. I know a lot of people have, but yeah, that's my opinion on everything. I think it would be super fucking amazing. Let me know your co-op ideas. Maybe you have better ideas, or even like additions to my idea, or maybe even examples of games that they could like just fuck it, just copy them and do how they've done. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and have a beautiful day. Bye.